You're mid-breath when the bronze flares. Flash of borrowed sunrise. A boy hero in rental sandals tiptoes through your dark like a polite storm. He thinks he isn't looking. Your snakes disagree. They rise like a chorus at curtain call. Limestone breath, drum heart, coast wind trapped in a throat. Don't blink, says a voice that is both you and not you. He angles the shield. Sunlight rides its belly into your eyes. In the gleam, you see your whole life, clumsily staged, no rehearsal. You are a face you aren't allowed to show. You are a weapon before you are a person. Hold, pupils narrow, snakes taste air. Before curse echo, a temple girl with oil black hair and a laugh like amphory clinking. Dust, prayer, gossip. You were always too much. Hair, face, presence. The gray-eyed goddess's hall was your second mother. You scrubbed until stone thinned your reflection. You learned silence. You carried other people's holiness without spilling your own. On market days, you ran messages with a pail in one hand and figs in the other. Old women pressed charms into your palm. Little eyes painted on clay, warding off what you hadn't yet become. You stored them in a bowl by the doorway, certain the world could be negotiated with trinkets and good behavior. A friend, call her Ione, shared plums under the olive trees. She said your laugh sounded like bells dropped down a well. You laughed harder. You didn't yet know bells mean alarm. First stare felt like being seen. That's how it starts. You vowed yourself to calm statues and predictable rules. Vows are porcelain. Gods prefer plot twists. At night, breath counting on cold floors. Dreams of the sea swallowing the moon and spitting it out as a coin. Power you didn't have to borrow. You imagined a future in which you became a priestess with good sandals and the kind of voice that could hush a hall. Mortal means bleeds when gods are bored. The day the doors blew open, the sky had opinions. A sea god entered with storm in his hair, tracking salt across sacred floors. You were a girl in the wrong chapter. We won't narrate the details. That's the point. They never ask for them after. The temple forgot how to exhale. Statue eyes wrong. Your knees found stone. Silence pressed like a thumb. A new organ pulsing. Anger. It beat under the old ones. A foreign drum in a familiar chest. Punishment came from protection. The goddess rebranded you. Fingers in your hair. Your hair hissed back. Strands stiffened. Forked. Lifted. One serpent, then another. A crown you never asked for. Your face became a spring-loaded trap stamped with your name. Ione's mother pulled her away on the street. The baker stared too long, and you turned your head so fast the world smeared. A dog you loved stiffened into a hero-shaped gravestone. You buried it by the rosemary and didn't cry because the crying might have killed the rosemary too. You ran, down steps, past olives turning like gossip. Anything you looked at held its breath too long and turned heavy. Fig tree, goat, boy on the path. You practiced side glances and shadows. You became the caution around your own gaze. You left the map's polite handwriting for a rock house that smelled like wet hearth and stubborn storms. You learned the shoreline by ear. You counted waves instead of sheep. You braided your snakes to keep them from bickering like sisters at a festival. You named them to make fate feel like roommates. Steno, Urielle, Little Fury, Jawline, Olive Pit, Blinky, she never blinked. Ruthless, Softy, and a particularly chaotic one you called Tax Collector, because she demanded attention at inconvenient moments. You set house rules. Rule 1, we do not bite each other. Rule 2, we do not eat the messenger unless he refuses to deliver bread. Rule 3, we say please before catastrophes. Monsters visited, men mostly, armor and entitlement, eyes lit with lottery hero glow. You gave them what they came for, selves preserved at the last second. The cave turned gallery, the gallery turned home. You loved none of it and all of it because it was yours. Sometimes a sand-footed girl wandered in, world shocked. You guided her out by voice alone, gentle as a blind goddess. Left, now straight, keep the wall to your right, you said as if you were giving directions through grief. You stayed, a winter of snakes sleeping on your shoulders. Your sisters, immortal, furious, came and went like seasons. They taught you to hunt by sound, to move like you owned the dark, to hug without eyes. They made you soup, it tasted like salt and stubbornness. You learned the cave like a lover, which stones to avoid, which puddles kept secrets, where the wind wrote letters. You stitched seaweed into mats you could look at without murdering them. You whistled. Sometimes the cave whistled back. You laughed at yourself. A quiet, teeth-hidden laugh. The snakes laughed too in their way. Tiny tongue snickers, percussion for the empty room. You grew into the myth body the way women grow into real ones. Awkward, bright with survival, lonely like a secret. You woke one night and wrote on the wall with charcoal, "If I am a warning, who am I warning, and why am I still here?" The ocean replied by pretending not to hear. You got good at being terrible. Hate to say it, but you did. You could count the heartbeats behind stalagmites, smell fear like sour milk, map the cave by sandal scrape. Your snakes formed a council, some diplomatic, some snack forward, all ferociously loyal. You instituted voting. It devolved into hissing. Still, democracy attempted. You found joy, the stalactite geometry, the sea's dirty jokes at high tide, the aftersound when a sword hits cave and its owner learns humility. You taught yourself to carve by touch. Your rough little figurines looked like hope with chipped noses. You made one of a girl smiling with her eyes closed so she wouldn't be dangerous to herself. You wrote letters you never sent. Dear younger me, I'm sorry our face became policy. I'm sorry we learned to apologize for existing. The snakes are actually funny. Keep one apple hidden. Eat it when nobody is watching. You, and also us rumors, algae bloomed. You bathed in blood. You devoured. You hoarded treasure. True, you hoarded quiet. Your name became an obstacle course for boys with pointy sticks. Bards rhymed you with cruel because it was convenient. A fisherman swore you could control the moon. You could not. You could barely control your bangs. A few women arrived on purpose, not to kill, to learn. You taught them how to breathe in the dark, to trust ankles, to make themselves larger in the throat when a man's shadow crossed a doorway. They left better at surviving, which is not the same as living, but it's the prerequisite. Then the brand new hero, messenger sandals, borrowed blade, sky flat shield. The goddess who remade you lent him a mirror to hide inside. You laughed. Of course she did. The wind told you he was coming. Wind keeps receipts. It recited his inventory like a shopping list. Cap of invisibility, sword with a name, pockets full of other people's courage. You braided serpents, whispered names, sharpened nothing. You swept the cave floor. You straightened the statues out of habit as if company were coming for tea, not destiny. You weren't afraid. You were tired of being the final exam in a boy's syllabus, tired of roots in the dark, of wanting touch and delivering death. You rehearsed one line. You could have brought bread. Dawn arrived with him. Back to bronze flare. Shield smuggling your face to you like contraband. He refuses your eyes, but stares anyway. Mirrors make cowards feel brave. Pebbles gossip underfoot. You could have said hello, you say. You could have brought bread. He doesn't answer. Heroes are taught that voices are traps. Correct. He moves like a man learning steps someone else designed. The snakes shiver. A bead curtain of warning. Tax collector complains about the angle. Blinky refuses to blink on principle. You think of temple air. Wrong-eyed statues. Sisters snoring deeper in. Women you escorted to daylight. Men who made you rumor to prove they were real. You think of Ione. Did she marry? Does she laugh? Does she keep a charm in a bowl by the door and forget why? His arm moves. Snakes kiss metal. The world is a hinge without a door. You consider fight. You consider mercy. Stories remove choice. Blade. Heat at throat. Cold at crown. Your body falls one way. Your face another. You are ahead. Hello? Still powerful. Hello. The snakes reel, then regroup. Loyal to the end, they arrange themselves like a crown holding you in place, whispering your name back to you so you remember it belongs to someone. Your blood invents a winged horse and a boy with a golden bossiness of a sword. You'd have liked to see it on a calm day. Seaweed touched by your breath hardens into coral, little skeleton cities starting a rumor of future reefs. You become a portable catastrophe in a wet sack on a boy's belt. He uses you like a favor. Monsters, kings, a sea thing with opinions. You look, they go statue. Weapons justify themselves. Between tree branch thuds and congratulations on the sack, you build petty plans, ruin one royal reception, and bigger thoughts. Revenge beyond obvious. The snakes tell knock knock jokes with no doors. You laugh anyway. The head laughs. It's awful and miraculous. One night he sleeps and dreams of glory while you dream of rain on stone. You half wish you could turn the dream to marble and shatter it. Instead, you stare into the canvas of the sack and listen to his breathing. Boyish, inconveniently human. You remember all the boys you refused to kill by speaking soft directions to the exit. You feel complicated. You hate that. He returns you to the goddess who started the paperwork. Spoils. She calls you because the language lacks what we stole. Returning, upgraded to function. She sets you on her shield. Compliment if you're bronze. Prison if you're grief. The backing smells like oil and decisions. You settle into the curve like a mouth into a lie. You hang, gleam glare on command. You protect the chest of the god who punished you for being protection. Irony sets its drink down and applauds. Cities march, armies break, priests polish you with rags that always smell like thunder. Your name becomes a threshold charm against bad things, as if you weren't named by bad things. The snake snap and shifts. You watch the world sideways and metal, familiar, exhausting. Sometimes the goddess looks, unflinching, machine eyes. Victories for sentences. Forgiveness implied, not offered. She has learned to say your name without saying your name. She calls it strategy. You aren't asking. You watch girls become women in the shield's flicker. Market girls with plum juice on their chins. Soldiers' daughters who wear knives like hairpins. A queen who hides fear under lacquer. In nights when the sea chews the shore like it holds a grudge, you can almost hear your cave. Rain counting itself on stone. You whisper back. The wind hears. The wind files it. They call you monster, symbol, warning. Tattoo you on shields. Carve you on door lintels. Wear you on chains to ward off harm. Never ask if you were harmed or harmed. In a back alley, a stonemason copies your face into a simple amulet. He sells it to a woman with tired eyes and a spine like a compass. She touches it in crowds and breathes easier. You approve, not that anyone asks. Boys still practice not looking. Polite war angles. The goddess nods. The wind keeps receipts. The hero with the sack grows old in stories, then older in silence. He tries to remember your voice and cannot, which is its own indictment. Behind your still excellent teeth, you compose a new prayer, not to gods, you're done with job creators, but to girls who inherit you. May you never be remade as a warning. May your gaze grow gardens. May your hair be wild with living, not hissing. May your name be an open door. May your mirrors tell the truth and then politely shut up. A soldier edges close. The shield behaves. Another statue for the gallery of consequences. A child points and laughs because the man looks funny with his mouth stuck open. You feel nothing. You feel everything. You are a mirror that remembers. Stories spiral. They curl like snakes around old bone. So back once more to bronze flare, to a boy who wouldn't look and a woman always being seen, to a temple of dust and salt, to a girl with too much laugh and too much face. Born ordinary, dragged across a god's agenda until you sparked. Punished for surviving, repurposed for someone else's. Coral still grows where your blood kissed the sea. Whole cities built from injury. Somewhere Ione's granddaughter wears a little gorgon on a string and tells streetmen no without apology. Somewhere a priestess wipes a statue's eyes and wonders if gods deserve pedestals. You don't get closure. You get echo. You are the blink that refuses. The gaze turned true. The joke that kills at parties, literally, and the altar no one cleans. Roll credits, then keep looking.